All right, welcome to the Leopard Lair. I'm John Aljancic. Thanks for joining us tonight. Before we get going, we'd love to just start off by thanking Dr. Mike Thomas as our main sponsor here for the Leopard Lair, as well as we'd like to thank Jared Heller and Leopard Nation for all they do to help support following leopard sports. And without further delay, we have members of the Louisville wrestling team with us today. Off of an incredible season, we have Coach Rocky Lachlan, Dominic Hofart, and Pablo Castro joining us. So guys, thanks a lot for joining us tonight. And we're going to jump right in with Dom and Pablo coming off incredible seasons. Dom capping it off with a state championship at the 138 pound class, and Pablo with a state runner-up at 132. Guys, can you kind of take us through the year and how it went, and just some of the trials and ups and downs that you guys went through to get to where you guys got to?
The season starts in November. We start practicing then, and then we start with like a really tough tournament. It's like one of the hardest in the nation with Ironman, and Pablo placed at that. And then we just wrestle in the room throughout the year, push each other, and then that like leads to success at the end of the season.
Yeah, just throughout the year you have your big matches. It's kind of cool seeing like how the season goes, your wins, your losses, and watching yourself grow and finding yourself along the way, what works for you, what doesn't, and just catching yourself peaking at the right time and doing the right things all year long. Like he says, you have two of the toughest kids in the state battling head to head all season long. You're only destined to have great things happen.
Cool. All right, so the Leopards send a school record 9 Met men to the state championships just a couple weekends ago, including 6 guys placing in the top 8, which is also a school record. So, Coach Rocky, this is your 8th season leading the Leopards here. Unparalleled success this program's ever seen. Did you imagine this 8 years ago when you first took over the program?
Oh, man. I don't know. When we first started, we were green. We had a long road as far as getting where we're at, but I've had a lot of help, and we've been blessed with some great athletes, and so I guess I don't know at that point that I had thought that far ahead, as far as where I thought we could be or where we couldn't be. I think that we've had some success, but there's a lot of people that can take credit for that. So.
Okay, cool. Well, you guys have put your names in as a program with the St. Paris Grams and the Auroras. Now with the St. Ed's, with the Perrys. One of the top programs in the state, which is just really remarkable, especially for a school our size. But kind of going more back to the individual aspect here with Dom and Pablo. Take us through that night of the state championships when you're getting ready to go out for the championship match. You're about to realize the potential dream. Take our viewers through what your thought process is going into that match, what you feel like afterwards. Tell us about that a little bit.
Going into the match, it's a really big stage. Even warming up, they have the lights off, they have the light spotlights down on the mat. You're warming up, you can just feel the energy inside there. And then when you're sitting in the tunnel waiting to go out, I feel like I really just calm myself down and realize it's just another match. I'm just going out there and wrestling another person. That was one of the biggest things for me, not letting all that stress me out and get into my head, just keeping myself calm.
It's just a crazy, like you said, feeling. It's very surreal. You grow up, I know Coach has kids that were there. You grow up as a little kid watching high schoolers wrestle, looking down at those 3 matches that third day, and it's something crazy. You see all those kids running out of the tunnel, like he said, and being able to take part in that, being able to be in that, looking, like he said, in the tunnel. It's something that you can't simulate. It's just a crazy feeling. It was sweet to be a part of. It's sweet to win or lose. It was just crazy being down there on the floor, looking around, seeing tons of people. Just seeing the whole community there all in one arena, and the little kids that dream and you can see that they come up and they idolize these high school wrestlers, and it's awesome for a sport. Yeah, it's a really cool feeling.
Cool. So the Leopards finished third in both the duels and the individual this year. Just quite an accomplishment. So speaking of those young viewers and those kids who look up to you, what advice would you give them, as they potentially start entering their youth wrestling and that type of stuff? What does it take to be a state caliber type wrestler?
Okay.
I feel like it's just, you got to keep, like in a match, you just got to keep wrestling through every situation, and that's really how it is for the whole sport. Like, you just got to keep going through the ups and downs. Like, you might have a bad tournament, but then you got to take that and learn from it and work hard in the practice room, and that's really what made me progress in wrestling, just like being able to work on the really small things that make a big difference on the big stage and stuff.
Yeah, just basically building off what he said, like perseverance, dedication, hard work, all those fancy words that you learned growing up. It's true though, like the attention to details, all those crazy words that you hear all those motivational speakers saying, like, but all of it's true. Like the little pieces in practice that you don't think matters, they matter. Those little, that, like he said, the ups and downs when you lose a match, those just building off of that, learning how to grow from that. There's gonna be downs. There's gonna be the highest highs in the sport and the lowest of the lows. So it's just being able to persevere through all that, get past all that, and keep growing, getting better every day, and just like letting, like, at the hard times, just knowing that like there will be better times. So like he said, yeah.
Okay. Now, Coach, bringing the program to this level, what is the biggest challenge for you as the general of this program to get these guys to perform at the level that you believe that they're capable of performing?
I guess there's lots of ways you could answer that. I think one of the most challenging things for me is, I think where we're at, you get into a situation where it's a lot of people that you're managing. It's a lot of personalities, and not just it's not just the kids, but your coaching staff, parents. There's a lot that goes into keeping everybody on the same page with that same goal and moving in the same direction. And it's really easy, I think, the better you get as a program, to get distracted, to have distractions within your program, not even outside your program, but just within your program. When you have, you said we had 9 state qualifiers. When you have that many kids on your team wrestling at that level, it's just a lot of personalities to juggle, and it's I think that's a tough part of the job. Trying to make sure that everybody stays the course and everybody is working towards, their individual goals, but also our goals as a program. And at the same time, trying to keep everybody on the same page. So to me, I think that's the biggest challenge. I think that's a hard thing to juggle.
Okay, sure. Now, guys, wrestling is a very demanding sport. I mean, as you guys know, you dedicate your life to it. What separates wrestling from other sports, would you say?
So there is that team factor, like the team state and stuff, but like it's really an individual sport, and I feel like that's the biggest thing. Like, you have to work on yourself, like your mindset, all that, to make everything just build on itself and work and like go out there and perform well. And the biggest thing is like it's really your mindset and just like stuff like that.
Yeah, like I just think it's a crazy sport. I mean, you look at football, basketball, they all have this like dream to go up, be an NBA player, an NFL superstar, and there's not really that for wrestling. So I think it's just like a sport full of just crazy people wanting to hurt each other. like I don't know, like there's you do crazy, you do such things that people look at you like, wow, like the suffering, the blood, sweat, tears. It's true, like all that. And then not only, like he said, it's a team sport, but you're sent out there on that mat alone. It's mano y mano. Like it's one man versus. So like yes, there's a ref, and yes, but like all those emotions, all that, those feelings, the nerves, everything, you're on your own out there. There's no quarterback that can be like, oh, he overthrew me. There's no linebacker or lineman that I can be like, dude, hold your block. At the end of the day, it comes down to like, it was my fault if I lost the match. If I won the match, it was me. Now you have your team aspects where it's like the dual team and you can juggle your team around and stuff. But at the end of the day, one kid's out there being sent out there and he's demanding by his team to perform to his best ability. So I think that's where it comes in. It's a very just emotional sport, and I'm not saying that football, basketball, that doesn't have there's battles and stuff, but I think wrestling takes it to a new level. I think it shows people things that teaches life lessons throughout the sport.
Now, Dom, you're a junior, Pablo, senior. What would you say is the biggest difference? Because you guys have wrestled at a high level for a long time now. But what would you say you learned from the Pablo who was a freshman to Pablo now as a senior, Dom as a freshman to Dom now as a junior? What's the biggest thing that you've learned, and Coach Rocky for that matter, as a first-year guy here at Louisville, that's your 8th year, what's the biggest thing you've learned to help you climb that mountain and to get to the top?
I feel like for me, it wasn't so much the wrestling aspect, it was more mindset, like knowing how to calm myself down, knowing how to deal with stresses and stuff like that, and then really just believing in yourself when you go out there on the mat and slowing the pace down, because if you go out there like all nervous and stuff, it won't end well for you. Like really just being confident in my everything I do in my life, just trying to do everything correct, and yeah, it's really just a big mindset for me. I feel like from freshman year to now.
Yeah, me and Dom have had tons of these talks. So, yeah, like he said, like it's honestly all like everyone has. I mean, for the most part, has 2 legs, 2 arms. So like you're all gifted with the same. It's just who's out there and who wants it more. Like honestly, like. And then just like trusting in your coaches. I trust in Rocky preparing me right, and my other coaches. I trust in my training and like you said, controlling your emotions and mental. But when you both step on the line, like you're both nervous. You both have those feelings. It's just who's gonna go and grab it.
How about you, Coach? Biggest lesson you've learned from year 1 to year 8?
Oh man, for me, well, you know, like I said, when I got here, I was still familiar with a lot of the kids because prior to going to Jackson, I coached. I was a Burke's assistant, and so I knew a lot of those kids from youth. They were really young at that time, but I did know some of them, so I kind of knew what I was getting into. But I think the biggest thing from year 1 to where we're at now is just we're competing at a different level. We're training at a different level, you know. And I think you have to adjust as that goes. So like when you look at year 1, like I said, we weren't very good. We had 3 district qualifiers, and I was pretty excited about that. So at the time we were Division 1, we had 3 district qualifiers, and I think that everything is different. You know, the way you map out your schedule, how you peak for different events, how you run your practice, how you manage your athletes. I just think that everything changes because our program has progressed. So some of those things that I talked about have changed. You know, the competitions we go to are different. Like Dom said earlier, we wrestle one of the toughest tournaments in the country right off the bat. So their preparation for that starts in August. You know, they start preparing for that tournament. So like when you look at our schedule now, we actually have our schedule set up so that kids like Dom or Pito will peak twice in a season. You know, we start in August working towards Ironman, and then we kind of regroup over Christmas and start our our preparation for the state tournament. So just you know, the program has evolved, and because of that, the different things that I've had to do as a coach have just changed.
Well, like as we mentioned earlier, Leopards finished third in the state this past year in both duels and individuals, a record-setting 6 placers in the state, which we want to include them in this broadcast, with Blake Schaefer placing third at the 190, Cameron Brazick placing fourth at the 285, Brendan Sievers at 157 took sixth, and Noah Peterson finished eighth at the 175-pound class. So, one final question for you guys, Pablo, as you get, what are your plans moving forward college-wise, and Dom, what are your plans coming up this off season?
The off season, I'm just gonna wrestle the freestyle, which is it's basically like folk style, like high school wrestling, but there's different scoring and different types. There's a couple different ways to score points in that.
The style of wrestling they wrestle in the Olympics is just a little different than what we do in high school.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrestle a lot of that, try and just keep training, and then during the fall get back into folk style, wrestle some bigger tournaments, like Super 32. I'm gonna try to wrestle in Michigan Grappler. Those are both really good preseason tournaments, and then just keep training and working as hard as I can for the next season.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep training, and excited to go to Kent State, see what that has for me there. I'm going to Kent. I'm going to be an aerospace engineer, so between schooling and wrestling, I think I'm going to manage that. Try to. But yeah, just training and seeing what the off season has for me.
Pablo starts at Kent State next week, so they start their workouts next week.
Yeah.
It's kind of a sad day for me. I watched him clean out his locker today.
That is pretty hard.
Peacing out.
But excited for you.
Yeah, I'm excited. It'll be fun.
Well, I tell you what, I heard it once said, there's no shortcut to greatness. You have to put the work in. And I tell you what, you guys have achieved greatness, and just by listening to them, you guys put the work in, you paid the price, and congratulations on the success that you've shown.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So, well, thanks for joining us, Pablo, Dom, Coach Rocky. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, we
Really
appreciate
appreciate it.
it.
Congratulations on a great season.
Thank you.
I feel Coach Siegfried looming here at the Lair. So when we come back, the boys basketball program will join us.
Beatty Sports has all of your athletic needs, specializing in corporate, school, and team apparel. In-house custom embroidery and silk screening makes the Beatty Sports tradition of quality and service unbeatable. Go Leopards!
When Superintendent Schaefer, the school board, and new head coach Troy Davis asked me to pick up for Dennis Beery and fund the new scoreboard, I thought it was a daunting task. But we did it. The people in Louisville love the Leopards. And as for Thomas & Associates Dental, we have one thing to say: band, cheerleaders, football team.
is whenever you're. All right, we are back at the Lair. And once again, just want to thank our main sponsor, Dr. Mike Thomas, and as well as Jared Heller and Leopard Nation once again for their coverage of Leopard sports. But we are now great to have members of the Louisville basketball team as well as head coach Tom Siegfried with members Braden Gross, Bo Siegfried, and Hayden Nigro. Thanks for joining us, guys. All right, well, at least one of you guys are thankful. No. So anyway, record-setting year for the boys basketball program. Win the first district title, or actually the second district title in Leopard history, the first since 1993, and the first team to advance to the Elite Eight. All that while Coach Siegfried winning his 200th game as the head coach here at Louisville. The record holder there with 12 tournament wins. So just an unbelievable season. Coach, take us through it. A long journey.
Yeah, I don't know if we have enough time on this program tonight, but in a nutshell, just a tremendous year. And, you know, obviously most of the Leopard faithful out there remember the tournament run that obviously stands out. And, you know, I think just the grit that we showed early in the tournament run, and then obviously not wanting it to end and getting to that regional final was pretty special. Just a great group of young men, great community support. Never in a million years would I have dreamt the type of support that we saw in the district final, hour and 45 minutes away, and 200 plus student section, fans everywhere. And then you go over to the Civic Center, 2,500 people there from Leopard Nation, and you know, these kids really thrived on that, and it was a total team effort, and just a tremendous year, and a lot to be thankful for, and a lot to look forward to as well.
Well, yeah, the future looks very bright for the Leopards here. We got three of the members here, all underclassmen, BG and Bo being freshmen, Hayden being a sophomore. Guys, kind of to piggyback Coach, tell us a little about the season, especially you guys are all young, like going into the season, and kind of maybe what you learned from the first part to all of a sudden you're in a regional final game against St. V's.
I just think that I never thought I would be there, you know. Like being in middle school, it was always something that I looked forward to and wanted to be there. I didn't think it would be my freshman year that we'd make it that far, and it was really fun to do it with everybody and go as far as we did.
I agree.
And it was always like good watching, fun watching like players growing up, like being a ball boy, and it was just really cool to like be in a district championship and play against like Mizuchi and like all those good players on Howland and stuff.
So during the season here, Coach, when did it click to you like, wow, we might be able to make a deep run? We might be able to do something historic. Like was there a defining moment or anything like that?
I think we just saw flashes of it all year. You know, obviously the one that stands out probably to most of the fans and general observers would be the Jackson game at Jackson. When you go into a program like that and beat them on their floor, you know, obviously very storied 2 state championships in the last 10, 12 years in D1. And I think that kind of opened some eyes probably in the county, maybe our own guys saying, okay, we can actually do this. But what we found out right away, and you know, we knew going in, and any given night you can go home as well. That's what makes tournament wins so special. So just once again, I thought it was really the team chemistry, the willingness for everyone to pick each other up. In certain games, it was certain guys, and just the combined effort of everyone on the team to not let the season end. I think that's what it really came down to. But I would say if you had to pick a pivotal moment, it would probably be that stretch from Jackson on.
Okay. Now, how about you guys? Having to battle a lot of diversity. I mean, BG and Bo, you guys hardly playing varsity basketball to begin the season, playing a lot of JV, getting some spot minutes on varsity. To all of a sudden, you know, BG, you're a starter. Bo, you're a first guy off the bench, as well as Hayden, battling through a concussion, you know, early to mid-season, and then obviously helping lead the team, you know, to a regional final. Kind of tell us about some of that adversity and what it took, you know, to all of a sudden you're standing, you know, in front of thousands of people in a regional game and playing big minutes.
I think BG and Bo are ready. I mean, they've been practicing against us in practice, getting battled under the post with AJ. I mean, tough game to start against Jackson. BG was, I think, shaking up in the locker room, not wanting to come out. But I just think they were ready. I mean, practicing against us all year, I think they were ready for their big move on the varsity.
Yeah, I just think that what Hayden said pretty much summed it up, and I was pretty nervous. Think Bo was too a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have this magical run through the playoffs. Starts with coming back from a double-digit deficit at home to a Canfield team,
Right.
to playing an incredible game at Glen Oak High School against
Yeah.
Canton South. Down the whole game, I think took the lead with under 2 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Beat a Howland team that beat you earlier, and then finally a Glenville team that took you down to the wire and eventually in overtime. Like, give us the roller coaster emotions through those 4 games. I mean, I know those were almost a season in of themselves, but like
Absolutely.
each one of them just an incredible episode.
Yeah, and I think it was a season in its own, and maybe our season itself prepared us for that. We played 12 D1 teams during the year with some really tough D2 teams on the road. You bring up the Howland game. I think that can be also a pivotal point where we had to kind of regroup. We heard the wrestlers talking about, kind of regrouping halfway through the year and say, okay, what are we going to do the rest of the way? And I think we kind of dug deeper, maybe identified ourselves a little bit more after that game. And then you go through that type of tournament trail, and, when we got the draw, everyone always say, oh, yeah, we got a good draw. I really didn't think we got a great draw because I knew that we had to give a lot of respect to these teams we were playing. Canfield's a really good program, great coach, Coach McElroy, and then, of course, a Leopard, in the second round, and Coach Conley, who was a standout here, great coach, great young coach in the county, and then, playing a team that we already lost to in Howland, and then a Glenville team that, had some really, really good players, and they just didn't want to quit in that game and took us to overtime. Just tremendous to see young guys, guys that have never been there before, obviously, unprecedented territories to really step up and get it done. But just a lot of fun, and just seeing the community and the players gain that relationship together. That's what was special for me, just to keep it going one more time. And we kept talking, our saying was, to start the thing off there, that, we had a season of 3 games, and when we won those first 2, the district final, game 3, I changed it and I said, okay, it's not about 1 game anymore. This is the first of 3 again. And these guys kept rising up, and we got to that second of 3 again against St. V's in the regional final.
Now, how about you guys? Let's go to that regional semifinal game. No Louisville team had ever won a game in the regional in the round of 16. Play an outstanding game in front of a big crowd at the Canton Civic Center. Glenville keep itching back. The Leopards up double digits early part of the game, and even going into the 4th quarter. Up 5 with under 30 seconds left. They hit a 3-steal layup. All of a sudden it's tied. We're going overtime. What are your emotions at that moment as you're heading into overtime against a very formidable opponent in front of a packed house?
I'm not going to lie, I was very scared. One of our best defenders, Tyler, was out, and then BG was out, both being fouled out. But I think I knew we were going to be fine. AJ stepped up, made some really big plays, so I knew we were going to be fine. But I'll be honest, I was really scared too.
I will echo that, Hayden. I'm not going to be bigger than that, too. I was very scared as well at that point. There's no doubt.
How about you freshmen? Are you looking for your blankies at that point, or were you ready to go? Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely nervous, especially playing first game at the Civic Center in the regional semis. Just playing against a really good guard, number 2 from Glenville, and I think it really helped us though, become better teammates and become a better team to play against a team like that. And at the end of the day, we found a way to get it done, and we won. So
I was definitely looking for my blankie. It was had me a little worried there at the beginning of overtime, but we got up a couple points, and I felt like that we were able to take care of the ball, and I think I think we had it after the first couple minutes of the overtime.
Now, rumor has it on the streets that we're trying to get Great Clips to sponsor the team next year.
Yeah, we would, but I don't know if we have that kind of money in our fundraising account because that's going to take a lot to to get that cut. To get that cut. But they like playing with it, and I don't know if BG has a girlfriend or how that works out. But it's definitely the style right now. So
I just saw his eyes for the first time in 4 months right there.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. So we see the T-shirts all the time. The program. Talk to our young viewers, because obviously this program has come a long way from when you first took over, Coach. Was it 15 years ago?
Yeah, correct.
15 years ago to this point. What does it take for a young guy growing up in Louisville to be a part of this program? But what advice would you give to a third grader, fourth grader, fifth grader, like what it takes to play at this level?
I think that you should just really just keep working hard and never give up, and really never back down to anybody that you play against, because there's going to be teams obviously that are bigger and stronger than you, but you always have to battle against them and just be the bigger person.
I mean, I can't really speak. I just moved, but from going to the games and watching the younger kids play, I feel like they have to trust it, I guess, and know that their time is coming.
Just work on the things you need to. There's never a point where you can't improve. So always just work, get at it.
Okay, well, Coach, we're obviously going to miss our 4 seniors from this past year. Tyler Bolden, A.J. Lingenhol, Saber Lemoy, and Zach Seaman. But kind of transforming, obviously it's been a remarkable season this past year, but transitioning to potentially next year, which seems like a long time away, but it'll be here before you know it. 2 talented young freshmen, a lot of kids coming up. All-Ohio and Hayden Nigro coming back. 2-time All-Ohio and Will Aljansic coming back. The guns are loaded.
Yeah.
What does it look like for next year? What are some of the highlights? 'Cause I know the schedule, you've been working very diligently on it. What can you tell us about next year and maybe some of your expectations going in?
Yeah, so I think, the question that you just asked them, and just to kind of piggyback on that with the question you just asked me, the program, I think sometimes is misunderstood to the fact of, maybe ultimate success, which obviously we had a lot of success. We've had a lot of success for the last 10, 12 years, but it's more about the combination of everybody that puts time in, whether it's a youth coach, whether it's the Leopard Lair, if it's Dr. Thomas who sponsors this, or, our teachers, our administrators, everybody together create a great atmosphere and a great program. So, when we talk about, okay, what's coming next, that was kind of the goal of mine 15 years ago, that we never have a down year, that we care as much about our little dribblers K through 2 as we do as our 3rd through 6, or our middle school, or our 9th grade, or our JV. And if you look at the JV this year, I believe they were 14-4 at the end, and freshmen had a winning season. 7th and 8th grade both did very well. So as you say, we have a lot of people coming back, and it's time to reload. It's time for guys to step up, and those juniors become seniors. We expect them to be leaders like those 4 were this year. And even though each one of them had a different part, maybe they weren't all the greatest scorers, and Hayden and Will took care of a lot of that this year. They still led in different ways, and I think that our seniors next year will do that, and we'll do that very well. But I think, we do have a great future coming ahead, but one thing we've told our kids in the exit interviews is that you can't take anything for granted. As we saw, we were 16 minutes away from being done in the sectional final, but I felt like we had great leaders, not just seniors, juniors as well, sophomores, freshmen, that didn't want it to end, and that's really what the program's all about.
Okay, last question, guys. All right, now going from a successful season, sometimes it's hard to build on that success. Some people get kind of lazy with it, quite frankly. But what is one thing for each one of you individually that you want to get better at as a player to help contribute to the team? What's one thing that you want to get better at in this offseason?
I think my overall game and being able to communicate with my teammates and play better as a team, I feel like that will be a huge thing for our success next year, and I think we could all work on that, and be better for next year.
I think, getting in the weight room in the off season during the summer and just lifting and getting stronger, and just communication, just getting everybody together during the summer sometimes, having team bonding, and just really being able to play as a team. I think that's a big key in basketball.
On the court, I would say my defensive side, that needs to improve. And then I think our communication's fine. I mean, this is one of, like, my best chemistry teams. I mean, we're all going out to Chipotle every day. I think the chemistry's there. Weight room, get in there, get stronger. I would just say defensively.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Hayden recognizing defense is just makes my night. That's awesome. That's great. But Hayden's on. He's selling himself short. The second half of the year, he made great strides. And the thing about it is, a lot of people would love to have his offensive game that he has, and the fact that our players acknowledge their weaknesses, as our coaches do, and try to improve on those. That's what a team's all about. So I give him a lot of credit for that.
Awesome. Well, Hayden Nigro, Bo Siegfried, Braden Gross, and Coach Tom, appreciate you guys coming on the Lair tonight. Heck of a season, heck of a ride. We really appreciate it as a community, and we thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Well, we'll be right back with the weekly update to wrap up our show.
Beatty Sports has all of your athletic needs, specializing in corporate, school, and team apparel. In-house custom embroidery and silk screening makes the Beatty Sports tradition of quality and service unbeatable. Go Leopards!
When Superintendent Schaefer, the school board, and new head coach Troy Davis asked me to pick up for Dennis Beery and fund the new scoreboard, I thought it was a daunting task. But we did it. The people in Louisville love the Leopards. And as for Thomas & Associates Dental, we have one thing to say: band, cheerleaders, football team.
Welcome back to Leopard Lair. I'm John Aljancic, just wrapping you up and here just giving you our weekly update for Leopard Athletics for the rest of the week. First up is our Louisville varsity baseball team coming off of a 13-0 victory tonight at Minerva to even up their record at 3-3. They have a game again tomorrow night at 5 p.m. against those same Minerva Lions here at Louisville, and then they have a doubleheader, both games at Berlin-Highland this coming Saturday. They play Highland at 11, and then a very good Marlington team, not to take away from Highland, but Marlington, a state power at 4 p.m. So that's our baseball team. And then next up for our boys lacrosse team, which is currently 4-0, coming off of a 7-3 victory over Canfield. They play at home against a Lake Blue Streak team on April 8th at 7:30 p.m. Our girls lacrosse team, with a 1-1 record, plays tomorrow night at Boardman at 6 p.m. and then once again on Saturday afternoon matinee at St. Vincent St. Mary. Should be a great game. And then last but not least is our softball team. They played tonight at home against Norton. We have yet to get those results just yet, but they're 2-2. And then they play again on Friday night against Jackson at home at 6 p.m. And then they play a doubleheader at Hilldale on Saturday. They play Hilldale at 11 a.m. and then play a Great Lake Blue Streak team at 1 p.m. So, and then last but not least, not to forget about our boys tennis team with a 3-2 record. They played at Alliance tonight. They play again at Cardinal Mooney tomorrow at 4:45. And then they play in the Louisville Doubles Classic this Saturday starting at 9 a.m. And then our boys and girls tracks teams have the David Clegg Invitational this coming Saturday starting up at 9 a.m. So that's all the time we have for tonight. Really hope you enjoyed the show, and just really appreciate the wrestling team and Coach Lachlan coming on, as well as our basketball team, boys basketball team, and Coach Siegfried coming on. We appreciate them taking the time. We appreciate you guys taking the time watching us. Go Leopards. I'm John Aljancic signing off. Have a good night.